Okay, so in this example, this is week 6 digitizing. Depending on which class you take, whether it's the 15-week class or the 10-week class, the week may be different, but lab is going to basically be about the same. And then here in this digitizing section, I'm going to wind up creating another section called ArcPro Digitizing, but it's going to have this same file in here. So DGZ, it's a zip. Let's go ahead and download this. I'm just going to click on it, download. And with my configuration, it's going to prompt me. Yours may just go ahead and automatically download it into the downloads directory. Let's see here. I'm going to give it a new folder. And I'm just going to call that hands-on and put it in there. And as I've done this before, it gave it that one. Wouldn't do that for you if you've never downloaded this before. Okay, so I have I've downloaded my zip file, and I'm going to go ahead and extract it, and I'm going to leave it there. And you can see when I extract it, it creates a file folder. I can get rid of the zip file now. You don't have to, but sometimes it helps with confusion. And there you can see there's a digiclass GDB. Now, we haven't really talked about the geodatabase yet, but this is if you look at this through Windows Explorer, you can see that it's actually just a folder, but it's odd in that it's a folder that has an extension. And you can see when you open it, there's a whole bunch of files that have sort of cryptic names. You don't ever mess with any of the files that are in here. The only thing in here that may be of any use is if there's a lock on it, and it might tell you the name of the machine that has the lock. You're going to be saving the data into this geodatabase. It just looks like a mess here, but when you look at it through ArcCatalog and through ArcPro, you're going to see that it looks like a database. What's going to happen is everything's going to be put in there, and then when you get ready to return this to me, you are going to zip it up and send it back. So, and then send me the zip file. And the reason that you would do that is because that makes it one file, and it's very easy to transport one file. You can't actually upload an entire directory structure into D2L, so it has to be done that way. And I'll remind you again when we get to the last video. Okay. So we have opened that, and we can now go ahead and fire up ArcPro. Let me get rid of some of this. If there's any jump cuts, it's because I maybe have paused the camera and come back. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and just create a new map and with ArcPro, unlike ArcMap. For those of you who aren't familiar, in ArcMap, there's a .mxd file, which is called a map document. ArcPro actually makes things even more complex and more bulky. It creates these projects in which it creates its own directory structure, etc. And there are pros and cons to those things. I'm going to go ahead and create a map template. And I'm going to call it Digitize hands-on, and I'm going to put it, you can put it wherever you want to put it. You know, this gets into this whole idea of keeping things organized, and usually if you have an organization, they have a set of best practices for you to work with. I'm going to create this here. Okay, and I'm going to tell it to create a new folder for this project, and let's just show you what it has done. So it's opened ArcPro, and for purposes of this class, I'm going to assume you don't know anything about ArcPro, but you may very well. And let's see here, GIS 150, where did I put this? Hands-on. And you can see that it created a folder called hands-on. And inside that folder, it's created its own geodatabase. And this geodatabase is where the ArcPro will put its data, interim products. By default, it's the default database. So right now, there's nothing in it. But that's what it's there for. Every time you create a new ArcPro project, it creates this .aprx, which is the project file. It tells you where, it keeps up with all the links and everything. It creates this toolbox for you. And it creates an empty geodatabase in which you can use. And then it creates these other little folders that do some utility type work. Okay? Now you'll notice that the database that you downloaded is not in the same directory. So one of the first things we're going to have to do is make sure that this project becomes aware of that directory. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to click on this, map, insert. I want to click on add folder, and I'm going to click on folders, and and let's see here, add a folder connection. I'm sorry, C, BMR, FRCC, hands-on folder, and I'm just going to go ahead and click OK. And basically that'll give me a link to that particular folder. I don't know exactly why you do this. I guess to limit the amount of data that's available to you. All right, and so now we can go into the map and add data to the map. And I'm going to see here, these are the things that are specific to the project. You can actually get around this, but it's probably for the best. You don't. So let's see here, folders, DGZ, digiclass.gdb. Interesting. DGZ, digiclass.gdb. This is the one that we downloaded. And let's go ahead and add all of these feature classes into the data, into the map. Okay, so what it has done is it has created, it has loaded data from our database, put them all in here, and it has zoomed to basically to the extent of all of the map. So I'm going to go ahead and click the Save button here to save our project, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about what we actually have.